We're going to begin today by talking about hyperlinking. You need to, for your research essay, hyperlink all web sources with the exception of subscription database sources. Subscription databases, those that you got on online encyclopedias like the Britannica or World Book, or those that you got from EBSCO or CQ Researcher, those sources are all credible. So I don't need to necessarily click on those to prove their credibility. But all online sources, aside from the subscription database sources, do need to be hyperlinked so that I can easily click on them and interact with those sources and see whether or not they are indeed credible sources. So the first place you need to go to hyperlink is to your works cited page, which should be the last page of your essay. Mine starts here on page 6. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to identify what are my web sources that are not subscription databases. This one comes from WNYC, which is a news organization in New York. I'm going to hyperlink the author, or if I prefer the title, doesn't matter. I'm going to hyperlink it to the original source. So if I go back to the original source, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select the web address, the whole thing, not just a portion of it. I'm going to right-click and copy it. Then I'm going to go back to the source. Once again, you can do the author or you can do the title. I'm going to right-click it. I'm going to go up here to hyperlink, and I'm going to paste in the address and click OK. You'll know that you've successfully hyperlinked it because you can see that it's underlined and blue. Once I've done it here in the works cited, I then need to find where I have cited those internally and do the same thing. So I'm going to go back up to page 3 where I cite this Lancet piece. And on page 3, the first place I cite it is right here. This is a traditional citation. I've got the author's last name in parentheses. Right-click, hyperlink, paste, and click OK. Then I also cite it again down here, a little less traditional source citation. I can do the whole name, Andy Lancet, or if I chose just the last name, and I would go ahead and once again highlight it, right-click, hyperlink, and paste. Likewise, you might have sources that don't have authors. For instance, down here in the Scottsboro timeline, I have a source that does not have a title, but is a web source. This one comes from PBS Online. So I can go over here to the PBS site, take the whole web address, copy it. Once again, I'm right-clicking to do this. Highlight the title this time, since there is no author option. Hyperlink it and click paste, and there we go. Now, if I scroll up to where I cited it, also on page 3, conveniently, I can find where I cited this right here, highlight it, and once again, hyperlink it and paste. Now my sources are hyperlinked. It is to your best interest to check to make sure that your hyperlinks work. The way you do that, exit out of your original hyperlinks, okay? And you can either right-click and click Open Hyperlink, or you can do a Control H, I think it is. But I always do right-click, Open Hyperlink. And if it's working, it will open in a website right here. So that's how I know that my hyperlinks are working. It's always a good idea to check your hyperlinks so that you get full credit on assignment. You also need to insert pictures, so let's talk about that. In this section right here, I talk about the novel To Kill a Mockingbird. So let's say I want to insert a cover of the novel To Kill a Mockingbird. I might do To Kill a Mockingbird cover. Click enter. Now I'm going to get lots of images, but I want to make sure that the images are credible sites. So I can go this way and click on it and then go ahead and visit the actual page and decide whether or not it's a credible site. Now this is a WordPress, which means it's a blog. Probably not credible, so I don't want to be pulling it from there. I could go this route, but it's going to take a long time. Again, if I click here and I open up its site, view the page, and once again, you must link it to its actual site. So it's important that you don't just link it to a search engine. Once again, My Cup and Chaucer, it's a blog, not credible, don't want to cite that. Another option is to go to a place where you know the image is going to exist. For instance, I know that Barnes & Noble will have the website, will have a picture on the website. So if I go to Barnes & Noble and I go to the actual website and find it, I'm going to find an image that I know is credible because Barnes & Noble is a credible site for getting books. I'm going to right-click this, copy my image, and then I'm going to insert it where I want to have the image, simply by pasting it in. Now, I don't want it to look like this. This looks ridiculous. So I'm going to click on the picture, and Picture Tools is going to appear at the top. I'm going to go ahead and open that, and I'm going to wrap the text around the picture. All right, and you can do it in however you want. I normally choose square. And then as far as picture placement, I usually pick one of the traditional positions. All right, traditional positions being off to the side or one of the corners. You can do center if you want, it just makes it harder to read the paper. I'm going to do bottom right hand corner. So you'll see by doing that, it actually ended up down here, which I didn't want it. I wanted it to actually be way up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click undo, and I'm going to pull it up to a different page. You can see sometimes they're finicky. It's not an exact science. Okay, another option is you can delete it, go all the way back up, and then paste it in a different spot. Wrap the text, position it, and now this time it worked. Okay, so when it's frustrating, when it's not working for you, sometimes you just have to try from a different direction. I don't exactly like the way it looks up here, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so that this line comes all the way over like that. I just think it looks a little nicer. Now that I have a picture here, I have to hyperlink it. Directions are exactly the same. I'm going to go back here to the original site, copy the address, I'm going to click on the picture, right-click the picture, hyperlink it, and I'm going to paste it. You do not have to put your images in your Works Cited page. You only need to hyperlink them. So you'll see here, if I go up to this Scottsboro page, if I right-click it and I open the hyperlink, up will open the original website from where that came. Same thing, if I now go down to To Kill a Mockingbird, I right-click it, I open the hyperlink, it's going to go ahead and reopen that Barnes & Noble page. Hopefully you will find this helpful for hyperlinking your pictures and hyperlinking your web sources in your informative essay. Remember, you only need to hyperlink online sources that are not subscription databases and your photos. Photos, just like your websites, must be credible. So you only want to pull your pictures from credible sites. All right,